Yelan. Now, I'll probably upload this in a YouTube video in some way, shape, or form. We're gonna deep dive this character. Now, I'm not gonna look at anything to do with like building her, or like other materials required. You can look that up yourself if you're interested. All the stuff is here. So, let's start. Hey, what's up, Tissue as well? Welcome to the stream, man. Let's start. Her normal attack isn't interesting in any way. Normal attack, charge attack are the same, but she has a unique ability, which is called Breakthrough. Yelan will enter a breakthrough state after spending 5 seconds out of combat, which will cause her next charge attack, charged aim shot to have an 80% decreased charge time. And once charged, she can fire a breakthrough barb that will deal AoE Hydra damage based on Yelan's HP. Completely useless. People are going to build builds around it, but it's not actually useful in any way because, context here, 5 seconds out of combat, Genshin has a weird combat thingy where this means absolutely nothing. This is like your entry ability. You would use this to enter combat, maybe. What's the percentage? Let me see the percentage here, sorry. Breakthrough Barb, 27% of her max HP. That's okay. You know, you could get like a pretty crispy like 50k shot out of that, which is okay. But you'll only get that as a one-time, and you can't really do it in any fight that isn't in the open world. Unless you're like starting a fight like something like Tartaglia or Raiden Shogun. What's the other one? That fucking cryo woman. Signora. But yeah, generally, this unique ability that she has, pretty useless. You also not got to really... Like, if you've seen anything to do with Yelan and her kit and how her Q and E works, you're probably not even going to want to use her charge attack, let's be real here. Her E is pretty fucking phenomenal from what I've seen in the past 12 hours of being online. But that's the only unique thing about her normal attacks. Now, skill. Lingering Lifeline. Fires off a lifeline that tractors her in rapidly. I don't know what the phrasing is, I really don't. That tractors her in rapidly, entangling and marking opponents along its path. Right? When her rapid movement ends, the lifeline explodes, dealing Hydra damage to the marked opponents based on Yelan's max HP. Essentially, she moves fast in like an ethereal format. I don't think she's damageable in this, from what I've seen in the clips. She could be, but I'm not too sure. But she goes essentially ethereal, she runs fast, and if you go through an enemy, you mark them and deal damage once you exit that based on her max HP. At level 13, which is the only like achievable level right now, 15 is unachievable. At level 13, it's 48% of her max HP, which is actually like a surprisingly large amount of damage. If you have like 40k HP, you're doing 20k damage per skill hit, which doesn't take into consideration crit damage and crit rate. So you can definitely get a lot of fucking damage out of this, just by crowning the ability. I'll be real. Some people leaked a part of the 2.7 live stream. I'm so annoyed. Yeah, I think I saw something as well. That's so cool, the ethereal thing, not the leaks. A leak stinky. Yeah, the ethereal thing is really cool. I think if she goes invulnerable during this, does it say here? So her tap, she moves a certain distance very swiftly, and hold engages in continuous swift movement. During this time, Yelan can control her sprint direction and can end this quick movement by using this skill again. Additionally, each opponent marked by the lifeline when it explodes grants Yelan a 34% chance to reset her breakthrough state, which I'm assuming is this thing. So I guess you can get the breakthrough state mid-combat, which I guess is cool. So I guess you can kind of interweave her skill with her charge attack, but it is only a 34% chance, so against single target, you're not really going to be doing it. But yeah, cool, really cool. The damage potential for this is actually pretty decent. Like, imagine 200% crit rate, or sorry, 200% crit damage, like 100% crit rate essentially, 48%, 40k HP, 20k crit damage times 2, you do like a solid 40 to 60k with it. It's pretty crazy in my eyes. Duration for it on the hold is 3 seconds, so you got 3 seconds to mark as many enemies as you can, and the cooldown is 10 seconds, which is like a decent cooldown. That's nothing too extravagant. But it's you know, definitely, I think for the amount of damage you can deal with it, it's decent. Like a 10-second cooldown's fine. But I think that the thing that I'm most excited about this is the fact that you move quickly. And I don't want to walk at normal speed ever again. I want only max movement speed. That's the only thing I'm excited. Screw the damage. Max movement speed. Her E looks so very badass. I can't wait for you to see it on the live stream, whenever that is. Yeah. I've already seen the I should clarify the tissue. I've already seen the skills. I've already like today I've spent a bit of time just looking at her, and I've seen it. The skill looks cool. Her burst looks cool. But like, I'm not gonna show any gameplay because it's all very low quality on YouTube. No one's uploaded any 1080p gameplay of her, so don't worry about that. Anyway, moving on to the cream of the crop, some would say. Her burst, Depth Clarion Dice, deals AoE Hydro damage and creates an exquisite throw, which aids her in battle. Exquisite throw effect follows the character around and will initiate a coordinated attack under the following circumstances. Dealing Hydro damage based on Yelan's max HP can occur once every second when your active character uses a normal attack, strictly normal attack, no charge attacks it seems, and will occur each time Yelan's lifeline explodes and hits opponents. Okay, so that's very interesting. And from what I saw in the gameplay, it's essentially Xingqiu's, which is why I have a Xingqiu tab up here opened, is her Q and Xingqiu's Q share a very similar effect of causing hydro booms, hydro pew-pews, to fall onto the enemies when you do a normal attack, which is, that's fine to have two characters that do the same, because one is 4-star, one is 5-star. That's fine. Now, taking a look at this, it's every second, which is obviously, that's going to be a bit more of a factor every second rather than, so yeah, every second. So the faster your attack speed doesn't mean anything, so having attack speed doesn't trigger it faster. And will occur whenever she does her lifeline explodes on her skill. Okay, so you could press her Q and then follow it up with an E dash through a lot of enemies, and I'm assuming that would do a bunch more damage, which does sound interesting. That could buff her E even stronger. She might just be a massive burst DPS on E as well, or just a burst damage on E, not really DPS. But taking a look at what it scales with, obviously it scales with the Yelan's max HP. What is the scaling? The Exquisite Throw at level 13 is 10.35% max HP times 3. The times 3 is there not to times 3 the max HP, but times 3 the bullets, because you're shooting at 3 bullets from what I saw in the very pixelated gameplay, right? So you shoot out 3 little bullets that deal 10.35% of your max HP at crowned. Sorry, at Constellation and Crowned. I guess we should be looking at level 10 because that's just without Constellations. Which is still 8.77% is good. Let's say at 40k HP, you're doing like what? Quick maths, come on, like 8k damage per thing. That's pretty good. That was the shittest maths I've ever done, don't worry about it. But the better thing is, duration is 15 seconds, which I will be referencing Xingqiu a lot. Xingqiu's also got a duration of 15 seconds, that's good. The cooldown is, where is it, 18 seconds on Yelan, 20 seconds on Xingqiu, so slightly less uptime on Xingqiu. And the energy cost is 70 on Yelan versus Xingqiu's 80, which is, that's good. In terms of feel, her burst feels like Klee's, but switchable. I don't use Klee, and I avoid using her, so I can't really deny or confirm, but I'll take your word for it. I'll take your word for it. Now, Yelan, this looks good. Her kit looks good so far. I like the fact that she's similar to Xingqiu, and there's no character like Xingqiu that's a 5-star yet, so that's why I'm not complaining about it and not kind of bring it up as a point of too many of one type of character, because she's the first 5-star of this kind of style, right? So that's fine in my opinion. Having a 4-star and a 5-star variant of a similar thing, I think that's absolutely a-okay. Now, moving on, we're going to look at all of Yelan first, and then we'll cross-reference to Xingqiu a bit, because I want to look at a few values here and there. I heard her Hydra application on her burst is nerfed a bit, I think. I don't know if it'll ruin the chance of Hu Tao Yelan combo, though. Oh, I've read the comments on Honey Impact here and there. I've read some people talking shit. Who knows? I don't care much to do about that. I think she'll be great. I think she's going to be a great character, really. Anyway, going on to her passive talents, gain 25% in Leeway Expeditions, that's fine. When the party has 1, 2, 3, or 4 elemental types, Yelan gains different HP increases. So at 1 elemental type, if everyone in the party is Hydro, she gains 6%. If you have Hydro and Pyro in the team, 12%. Hydro, Pyro, Geo, 18. Hydro, Pyro, Geo, and Cryo, you get 30%. Those are just placeholders as examples of elements. So she gains, for 4 different elements, 30% HP increase, which is pretty good, right? That boosts your HP even more, gaining more damage on her kits, like specifically her kit. And then her last one, as long as what's it called? Adapt with ease. As long as an exquisite dice, whatever, I'll call it a dice, is in play, your own character deals 1% more damage. This is further increased by 3.5% damage every second. The maximum increase to damage dealt is 50%. The pre-existing effect will be dispelled if depth Clarion dice is recast during this effect. Okay. 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 So as long as an exquisite throw is in play, your active character deals 1% more damage. This increases by a further 3.5 every second. Okay. So 3.5 every second. Her burst is a duration of 15 seconds. That increases to 50. Now, I'm no mathematical genius, but how many 3.5s can fit into 15? I think it takes the whole 3.5, really. I think it takes the whole 15 seconds to get to 50%, right? Okay. Okay. So essentially your damage is going up on the main character that you're using. Let's say you do a Hu Tao Yelan instead of Hu Tao Xingqiu, obviously, and you rock this. Well, obviously you can't not rock it, so you use this. Hu Tao's damage will be going up every second by 3.5% as the duration of Yelan's burst goes on. Okay, that's good. Up to 50%, you will never really get the effect of 50% just because I think you get that on that last second. So there's no real reason for that 50% to even exist in a sense, but whatever. That's interesting though, 50% damage buff on the active character. That's good. Great passive. Actually, really good passive. But we're not here for the passives. Well, we are, but we're not really there for the passives. Constellations. Now, this is a big one because who's rolling for constellations? Hey, let's have a look at the value. Let's have a look at the value we're getting here. Now, enter the plotters, who, I don't know who the fuck the plotters are, but whatever. Lingering Lifeline gains 1 additional charge. Her skill, that is, gains 1 additional charge. So that goes up to 2. Interesting. Okay, so just 2 charges. That feels very much like a Shen-He constellation, and I'm pissed off about that now. Because Shen-He's C1 stinky boy. Stinky stinker. Shen-He constellation, very stinky. Nobody wants 1 extra charge of an ability that is not going to be like doesn't require an extra charge. Whatever. C2, taking all Kumas. Alright. When Exquisite Throw conducts a coordinated attack, it will fire an additional water arrow that deals 14% of Yelan's max HP as hydro damage. This effect can trigger once every 1.8 seconds. Okay, so just more flat out damage. Okay. So just 14% extra damage of her HP every 1.8 seconds when she does a coordinated attack. So that's on every second coordinated attack, you'll deal this arrow. Okay, that's fine. That's cool. Constellation 4 is increases all party members' max HP by 10% for 25 seconds for every opponent marked by Lifeline when the Lifeline explodes. A maximum increase of 40% max HP can be attained in this manner. Okay. The bait and switch. Increases... Okay, so you just have to mark 4 enemies and you get the maximum HP increase from C4, which is to everyone in the party. So she can be kind of like a tank as well. Yo. That's actually kind of crazy. You can kind of turn a lot of characters into a lot tankier versions of themselves if you just... Not that you don't run like a healer or something like that, but Yelan can like kind of alleviate a lot of tank like damage issues, I guess, with just this. That's it. That's interesting. That's an interesting C4. I don't think there's been a C4 like this one, or even a constellation that increases everyone's max HP, really. Not the one that comes to mind. And then C6, this should be the big winner, and it's called The Winner Takes All, a classic reference to some sort of fiction or something. I think that's just a saying, to be honest. I think that's gambling. I think this whole character is actually a gambler. So that, yeah, whatever. After using her burst, the Depth Clarion dice, Yelan will enter the Mastermind state. Alright. In this state, all of Yelan's normal attacks will be special breakthrough barbs. These breakthrough barbs will have similar abilities to normal ones, and the damage dealt will be considered charge attack damage, dealing 130 of the normal breakthrough barbs damage. The Mastermind state lasts 20 seconds and will be cleared after Yelan fires 6 arrows. Okay, let's slow that down. I read that too quickly. So in the Mastermind state, all of Yelan's normal attacks will be special breakthrough barbs, which is the thing from her normal attack, which is the breakthrough barb right here that deals, well, just this damage. Okay. Next thing it says, These breakthrough barbs will have a similar abilities to the normal ones, and the damage dealt will be considered charge attack damage, dealing 130% of a normal breakthrough barb's damage. Okay, so more. Okay, so it does 130% increased, dealing 130% of a normal. Okay, so a normal breakthrough barb. Okay, so 130% of that. You can get 6 of those off. She fires 6 of them in total. Okay. Okay. So just a lot more instantaneous burst. Okay. Interesting. It's not like a direct damage increase, essentially saying take or increase damage by 20% or some shit like that. But it's like a theoretical damage increase, right? Theoretical damage increase. That's fine. That's great. Okay, interesting. Okay, Yelan sounds great. Now, the part that I wanted to do more is look at her face. Let's all just take a second. That's nice. That's nice. Look at that. Don't you want that? Who doesn't want this? Nobody say me. Nobody says me right now. If anyone says me, instant ban. None of this. Everyone wants this. Say yeah. Say you want it. Everyone say you want it right now because you want this. Look at this. Bam. Amazing. Look at that. Look at that foot. It's like it's only a shoe. It's like not even a foot anymore. It's just shoe, dude. It's just shoe. Anyway, there's one little comparison that we want to look at is Xingqiu versus Yelan. If you go into any goddamn forum about Yelan or Genshin Impact, that's the current hot topic. And obviously we're going to talk about it because I'm your news source, aren't I? I'm the best Genshin Impact news source, better than everything. Anyway, Yelan versus Xingqiu. The biggest talk about point right now is their bursts being compared. Which one is going to be better? Now, as we currently know, Xingqiu is a part of like the overpowered team of just himself, Zhangling, fucking Bennett, and some other guy. I was about to say the C word, didn't. I held myself back. The Australians coming out of me. But yeah, Xingqiu is currently like a part of the few overpowered 4-stars. Now, can Yelan beat that? Well, it all comes down to the damage and the application rate. Now, Xingqiu, as we know, has a good application rate and on his burst. It works really well with Hu Tiao. Now, there was talk that Yelan got an application nerf because she fires out 3 distinct like bolts of Hydra damage. And it says that specifically in the fact that when you look at Exquisite Throw here, it says the damage dealt, 8.77% of max HP times 3. That means that it deals this damage 3 times. Whilst when you look at something like Xingqiu, it just says sword rain damage, 97%. It's a bit different. So I think before the nerf, Yelan had extremely high Hydro damage application, because of it being 3 different bolts, and so the Hydra would always take priority, and that was nerfed. And now I think Xingqiu's application rate is better than hers. I think hers is probably now just 1 application rate at a time. But regardless, I think the thing we're going to look at now is damage. You got to look at the damage. At level 10, Xingqiu's got 97.69% sword rain damage. Now, 97% what? HP? Attack? Crit? Fucking pancakes? God damn it. Honey Impact's not being descriptive enough. I need watts. But 97.69%, whilst Yelan's got 8.77 max HP times 3. And obviously max HP is a very malleable stat, but let's use a percentage. What can we use HP as? Let me pull out a calculator because it's easier on my phone. Let's use 40%, 40,000 HP. Actually 40,000's a lot. Let's use 30,000. I guess 30,000 HP. times, what is it? Fucking 8.77. I did 8,000. Fuck, I don't know how to use a calculator. 8.77%. 2,631 damage per shot times 3. Which, oh god, I have to do that as well, dude. Oh, fuck, so many calculations, man. Give me a second. Times 3. In total, every second, you're dealing 8,000 damage, essentially. Okay. That's with a 30,000 base HP. Compared to Xingqiu, my Xingqiu, let's take my Xingqiu in reference for now. I think my Xingqiu does, I haven't used him in a long time. I don't actually use him anymore. I kind of got bored of the idiot. He's got a dumb face. I think he does like maybe 10,000. But this is also your Yelan's damage taken into consideration without any crit rate or crit damage. So that's obviously not a viable state. Okay. So, Yelan's better. Round of applause. Yelan's better. No. Now, I think just in terms of raw damage, Yelan has higher potential because she's just a 5-star. I think that plays a factor into a lot of things. Because she's just a 5-star, she has a high amount of potential. Because I think my Xingqiu is pretty built. He's not in his prime anymore, but my Xingqiu is pretty built, and he can deal about, I think, 10k per elemental burst hit. So I think that's fine. I think Yelan has a lot more, potentially a lot more consistency, a lower burst cost, same duration, lower cooldown, higher uptime. The fact that she's HP means that she'll survive a lot more hits and has a lot more growing potential compared to Xingqiu. Xingqiu only really scales with attack and crit rate, crit damage, doesn't scale with anything else. Yelan definitely has a lot more potential to be stronger. Bow class, I pass. Well, you don't really use the bow. She's not a main DPS, so you don't use her bow, so I don't... You're just wrong now. You guys are just wrong. No bow users, no users. I think you guys are just wrong because you don't use her as a bow character. Get wrecked. You use her as a not bow character, you know? Yelan has... That's my final verdict right now. Is like... Because we've still got her weapon and Kuki Shinobu to cover, and I want to get into Kuki because I think I'm gonna like Kuki a lot more, much like I liked Yelan a lot more. Yunjin. But the verdict right now is that Yelan has a lot more potential to be better than Xingqiu because she scales off of a lot more things. HP, right? She scales with attack, crit rate, crit damage, HP, and HP percent. She has 5 stats available to her. Xingqiu's only got 3. So she has a lot more potential, but that is also to be determined because sword characters do have the strongest weapons in the game as of right now, with the Jade Cutter and the Thundering Pulse and the fucking the Mega Blaster 5000 and whatnot. But regardless,